Sunday, February 4th, 2018, that big moment finally arrives. No, not the moment where big companies pay almost $5 million for 30 seconds of ad time, and then you wonder after watching the commercials who the hell signed off on that. No, not watching stupid Justin Timberlake and his punk ass perform during halftime. Who cares about that? Shame on you if you like him. Shame on you if you do. No. I'm talking about what really matters after a tumultuous, controversial NFL season. Super Bowl 52 is finally here. The NFC champion, Philadelphia Eagles. The AFC champion, New England Patriots. They're there again. After all the talk, after all the breakdowns, after all this and all of that and all the buzz, the big game, that moment at hand is almost finally upon us. And as I've looked at this matchup over the past almost 2 weeks, there's been this increasing feeling within me that I truly believe the Philadelphia Eagles can win this game. I believe they can beat the New England Patriots. To the point where I am now convinced that not only can the Philadelphia Eagles beat the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 52, I firmly believe, and I'm calling my shot now, whether it lives in infamy remains to be seen, the Philadelphia Eagles will beat the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 52. And here are my top 5 reasons why. That's right. It's going to be Fly, Eagles, fly, come Sunday night. Number 5, the Philadelphia Eagles' use of RPOs, run-pass options on offense. When you look at the Patriots in 2017 and some of the teams that they struggle with, some of the teams that put up big performances on them, they all, to some capacity, some length, used some version or form of RPOs. The Kansas City Chiefs in that opening Thursday night game of the season. The Houston Texans with Deshaun Watson. The Carolina Panthers with Cam Newton. The AFC Championship game. It's not like Blake Bortles is a great thrower of the football. The one thing he can do is run. So teams with mobile quarterbacks, teams that utilize some version of RPOs can give the New England Patriots problems. The Chiefs beat them. The Texans could have beat them. The Jaguars probably should have beaten them. The Panthers did beat them. And these are all teams with mobile quarterbacks. And when you look at Nick Foles, not only has Doug Peterson done a great job of adjusting his offense without Carson Wentz to what suits Nick Foles, which is going back to a little bit of the old RPO stuff that he used to run under Chip Kelly when he had that great 2013 season where he had that, 27 touchdown passes, only 2 interceptions. They did a great job of adjusting and customizing the offense to fit Foles' strengths. And you might not look at him as that big guy, as being a mobile dude, but he is mobile enough, he is athletic enough, and he really survives and in some ways thrives when he's put in a type of situation where he can utilize a lot of RPOs, which ironically enough, again, is something that the New England Patriots struggle mightily at times against defensively. Number 4, I just look at it and I feel like the Eagles have a better overall roster. It's easy to sit there and fall in love with it from the Patriots standpoint and say they have Belichick, they have Brady, they have the built-in advantage. Well, ultimately, they do have a built-in advantage because they have the greatest head coach in NFL history. They do have the greatest quarterback, in my estimation, in NFL history. But it's not like the New England Patriots with Brady and Belichick have won every single Super Bowl. They've lost 2, and last year, frankly, should have lost a 3rd. And when I look at this team and the matchups, I just feel like the Eagles have a deeper, more complete, well-balanced roster than the New England Patriots do. I really, really do. I feel like there is more talent in more places, whereas the New England Patriots try to get by with a few really key guys and a bunch of other system studs. Guys that fill their role within the system, not a lot of difference makers. I feel like the Eagles potentially have more difference makers and, frankly, just have more good football players. And I feel like that depth and that superior advantage in terms of overall talent on the roster will play out at some point on Sunday. Number 3, for all the talk about Tom Brady and his greatness and all of it justified and all of it merited and certainly validated over the course of his 18 seasons in the National Football League, Nick Foles is playing pretty well in the playoffs. In 2 games, against the Atlanta Falcons and the Minnesota Vikings, two defenses that are better than the New England Patriots, including an Atlanta team that went to the Super Bowl last year with that fast, athletic defense, and the Minnesota Vikings, who had arguably the best defense in the National Football League and had a historically great third down defense where they had allowed the lowest third down conversion percentage against since the Purple People Eaters of the 1970s. And in those two playoff games, Nick Foles averaged almost 300 passing yards per game, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, completion percentage well over 75%. And the reason those numbers aren't even better is because they got out to such a raging, rampaging lead against the Vikings in the first half of that NFC Championship game. The Eagles didn't have to stay as aggressive. They didn't have to attack as much in the passing game. If you would have kept the green light on, Nick Foles probably could have thrown for another 100 yards or 1 or 2 touchdowns. He's been great in the playoffs. And yes, obviously, Tom Brady is a significantly better quarterback than Nick Foles. There's no question. But sometimes it's not about who the best is, period, or who the best is overall. It's about who's the best when it matters the most. And where for years you've talked about Tom Brady and his clutch factor and coming through in big moments time after time after time, and he most certainly has. Right now, in my opinion, based off of what I've seen these last 2 playoff games in the NFC side of things, Nick Foles is playing at a better level for what he is and what his team needs than Tom Brady has been. I know, controversial, but it's true. Nick Foles is playing well enough for the Philadelphia Eagles to win the Super Bowl. I truly believe that. Number 2, I look at the Eagles' run defense versus the Patriots' running attack. The Eagles had the number 1 rush defense in the NFL when you're talking about yards allowed per game. And while the Patriots ranked 10th in yards gained per game on the ground, the Patriots can get inconsistent with their approach on the ground. They can at times struggle to run the ball, especially against good defenses. So when you look at this matchup and the Eagles' ability to play the run combined with at times the Patriots' struggles to run the football, and also their lack of consistent commitment to running the football, it could create an environment where the Patriots could very early on in that ball game become one-dimensional. And while that dimension is great, and you have the greatest quarterback of all time, and you have studs like Rob Gronkowski, and a really good complement of receivers like Brandon Cooks and Danny Amendola and Chris Hogan, James White and Deion Lewis may be out of the backfield. The fact is, one dimension is still one dimension, and it is much easier to win big games, specifically the Super Bowl, if you can both run and throw the football. If you can only do one, it makes it a lot easier for the Eagles to game plan and strategize against what you're going to do. And eventually that could create situations where mistakes happen and drives and quickly, and could create all types of problems for the Patriots offensively. Because if they're not able to run the ball, the Patriots are going to be in a really, really bad place because of the number 1 reason why I feel the Philadelphia Eagles will beat the New England Patriots is because of the Philadelphia Eagles defensive front. That front 4 is really good. That front 4 actually is more than 4 because they've got depth. You look at the defensive tackle position. They run at least 3 deep with Fletcher Cox and Jernigan and Vinnie Curry. On the defensive end side, you've got Brandon Graham and Chris Long and rookie Derek Barnett. This is a defensive line that can get after the quarterback, both on the perimeter and up the middle. And we've known that one of the bugaboos of the New England Patriots in recent years has been their ability to protect Tom Brady. And when you go back to how the Patriots, Brady, and Belichick fared in recent Super Bowls against another NFC East team where we make this comparison for the Eagles, which is the New York Giants, what were the Giants able to do? They were able to generate a consistent pass rush with their front 4. And the Eagles can do that, and they've got some depth on that front 4. They have, to me, more than 4 guys in this game that could get pressure on Brady, where, however, more often than not, under defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, they might not have to bring more than 4 people. When you look at the Eagles and the formula for success for being able to beat a team like the Patriots, you want to be able to run the football. You want to be able to get a pass rush throughout the game, get physical with Brady, knock him on his butt a couple of times early, disrupt his timing. It's something the Giants were able to do twice. Yes, you could talk about miracle catches by David Tyree and Mario Manningham, and absolutely they are valid points, because if those plays don't happen, the Patriots might have won 7 Super Bowls during the Brady-Belichick regime. But there are many similarities between this Eagles team and the Giants teams of 2007 and 2011. There is no question about that, especially when you look at the quarterback position. Yeah, Eli's got 2 rings, but Eli's not great. Eli's never been great. He just had moments in time where he could get hot, specifically in the playoffs, and really, honestly, the 2 times he got hot in the playoffs are the 2 times they won the Super Bowl. And he played big, unlike his brother, in some big spots. And Nick Foles reminds me somewhat of that, especially 2007 Eli. But you look at this defensive line with Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham, Chris Long, Vinnie Curry, Barnett, Jernigan. This front 4 could cause nightmares for the Patriots and has been one of their Achilles heels. And you could say, well, they were able to overcome it with Jacksonville. Yes, they were. But Jacksonville, in terms of their pass rush, eventually wore down. They eventually had their lack of true depth in terms of pass rush ability on the defensive line exposed. The Eagles are better on their defensive line. To me, the Eagles are deeper on their defensive line, and I feel like as the game goes along, their pass rush holds up better throughout the course of a 60-minute game than the Jacksonville Jaguars does. But when you look at the Jaguars and you look at how they were able to stick a real game on the road in Foxborough against the defending Super Bowl champions, you see the Eagles and you say, while maybe their defense isn't quite as good, their offense certainly is better. And when you take the entirety of everything and you look at the matchup and the way things break down, the Philadelphia Eagles, to me, have the upper hand. When you throw out the playoff experience, which obviously is important, the championship experience, which obviously is important, the Brady-Belichick advantage, which again is obviously important, I think the Eagles are a bad matchup against the Patriots defense. I feel like the Eagles defense is a bad matchup for the Patriots offense. I feel like Nick Foles is playing some of the best football of his career when it matters the most, and that matters. The Eagles are just flat out a better team. They have the ability to potentially make the Patriots one-dimensional, and if they make the Patriots one-dimensional, it is good night, Irene, because they will be able to get to Tom Brady, knock him on his ass, and disrupt the timing of that Patriots offense. And those are my 5 reasons that not only can the Philadelphia Eagles beat the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 52, they will. They will. Something to the tune of like 27-23. It's going to happen. Come Sunday night, I firmly believe that Philadelphia is going to be all about fly, Eagles, fly. And they're going to finally hoist the Lombardi Trophy.